Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here for another video here on Marvel Strike Force. What are we here to talk about today on Wednesday morning? Well, we're here to talk about event hoarding. Now, this probably comes as no surprise because whether it's campaign energy, which I'm spending right now for the ongoing event, or for ISO 8 energy, which I am hoarding right now for next week's event, there's a lot of hoarding, right? On both of the energy sets. And someone in my Discord was asking me some questions about strike pass points and basically what you can do in terms of hoarding and how much can you hoard without or while still clearing the strike pass. And it really got me thinking about hoarding in general. Is that if you're not actively buying the strike pass, there's actually not a ton of reason that you actually need to clear it. I know this is gonna sound absolutely crazy. So there's going to be a couple of things in this video. We're going to be talking about, well, the breakdown of the strike pass and how much you can hoard while still clearing it. But we're also going to take a look at, well, what happens if you don't clear it? Like what if you don't need to clear it? Because if you look at the rewards on there, especially from the free to play perspective, it's actually not that great. So this is obviously the best way for free to play players to be able to get ahead in events is honestly it has to do with energy, right? That's normally the input when it comes to leaderboards, especially. So we're going to talk about that. So let's boil this down. And I want to start here in the Sentinels Assemble event that we have ongoing right now. Now, going into this event, I had hoarded about 6,000 campaign energy, which is pretty good. Now, I did know about 9 or 10 days in advance of this event because of data mines, right? And if you've been following along on my channel, then, I announced those pretty much the same day or within a few hours of me knowing. When I find it in the data mines, I make a video, typically, especially when it's event related, like I did yesterday, to talk about the Sentinel event that's going to be next week, which is involving ISO 8 energy. Now, on the leaderboard right now, like how long I'm gonna stay within this. I've been fluctuating between also my daily reset. I haven't done my coring yet for this. Between 3,000 and 3,500. Now, a lot of this has to do with the amount of energy that I hoarded in advance. Now, where do I normally land in leader? And I take leaderboards a little bit more seriously than standard events. So for next week's Sentinel event, I am going to be hoarding some, but it's not going to be as serious as it would be for a leaderboard event because those leaderboards are, in my opinion, pretty important. Like these leaderboards right now for Sentinels Assemble is a bit more important than other events. I need to I want to make sure that I'm landing within the top 10,000. And the easiest way to do that is, well, coring and hoarding, honestly, which I know is a really tough subject, especially with the way that we have to use our power cores when it comes to, for characters, right? And tomorrow I'm going to have a video on Nimrod, the Should You Core series featuring Nimrod. And I think it's really important to really just keep up to date with characters, but understanding which characters you need, which characters you don't, and how much leftover cores do you have to do and put towards events. Because again, if you're trying to maintain some level of competitiveness, I suppose, as a free to play player in the top 3%, which at this point is like top 10k, then you need to do well in events. So that's just one thing. And hoarding, unfortunately, has become what you need to do, I guess, because other than spending, it's the only thing that allows you to kind of make up for not spending is by hoarding. And it sucks. Like they tried to clamp down on that kind of behavior, but they never really were. There was like orb hoarding, and I'm glad that that's not a thing anymore. But nonetheless, energy hoarding is still a thing. Now, I want to kind of deviate to this table. This is the strike pass table, right? I just broke down everything related to strike passes. We're going to kind of go through this one by one, including basically how many strike pass points you get for your daily objectives. You can see them all here. I mean, the TLDR is basically that you get about 310 points per day, which is through all of these objectives. Now, the 600 campaign energy, because a lot of people are asking, well, can I hoard energies and how much can I hoard and blah, 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 blah. You can hoard your campaign energy basically in perpetuity. And what that means is that you could hoard it indefinitely without impacting your strike pass. The ISO 8 energy, not so much, because this is worth 50 points versus 30 for the 600 campaign. So that gets a little bit more troubling. If you want to do both, it does get more troubling. And I thought about this. I was like, so what if I were to hoard Both energies, because maybe there's no campaign event running, but I just want to like you don't get a lot of value, in my opinion, from spending your energy if you're at level 100. So I do want to stress that this is not something I recommend for people who are not max level. So if you're a newer player, this is not, you want to get your levels right. So you can't just hoard and not spend your energy. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of kneecapping yourself in terms of how fast you're going to get those levels. So I don't recommend it. This is kind of like, late mid game, end game kind of strats as far as events go, right? And so your grand total for your strike pass points are 310. This is equivalent to about just over 4 strike pass levels per day. Now, what's really important though is saving your strike pass points before you go into a new one. I'm doing this for other reasons right now, because there's going to be something later on today, which I think may be in the final daily objective. I think that's part of the the annihilators thing. I think this is going to be in here, but I'm not sure. That's why I'm kind of saving this. But anyways, when you go into a new strike pass, so on a Monday when a new strike pass is going live, for example, when this is about to expire, you want to do this. You want to hoard all of this stuff so then you can claim it when the strike pass goes live, and then you can maximize your points. And this is about 310 points, which is 4 levels. So that's 4 levels that you're able to get for the new pass right away. And this is actually really important to your ability to hoard, and also how many levels that you get as a result of that. If you don't do this, if you don't save your objectives beforehand, it does make a pretty big difference, or you have to make up the difference, for example, with coring, to get those levels that you missed. So you need to get 55 levels in the strike pass points to max it out. That's 75 times 55, and that's 4,125 points to max. Now you get this like free inbox, and I think it's like 160. It's a weird number. They give you for free. It's normally a couple hours after the strike pass goes live. They send you an inbox. I'm not sure if it's exactly 160 or if it's 150 or whatever. I think it's at least 2 levels. And so that's why I put this. I swear it was an uneven amount, which is why I put down 160. I used to know this, but I lost the number. It's not that important because it's pretty close. And then if you save beforehand, like I said, before the pass goes live, you get 310, right? And so then you can take these numbers, subtract it from the grand total that you need, or the old total, and this is the new grand total. You need 3,655 points. And then we can kind of use that figure to understand, well, what happens when you skip campaign energy. And so basically, in order to figure out this, we go skipping campaign energy for 14 days. And this is essentially taking this 310, timesing it by 14 days, but then subtracting, these values here, the 30 energy that you get every day, subtracting this times 14 from the grand total. And you get 3,900 points. Now, to understand the surplus that you're in by doing this, you basically make the difference between this. So you can see right now that by skipping campaign energy for 14 days, you're getting more overall points than what's needed in the new total required table box. And so you're in surplus of about 3.5 strike pass levels. If you do everything else, you hoard in advance, you're about 3.5 strike pass levels in surplus. And so that's about 1 day's worth of levels. So that's fine, right? Like you can clear it. So what that means is that if you just want to hoard your campaign energy and that's it, you can do this indefinitely for 14 days, as long as you do the saving of the objectives before the pass goes live. If you don't, you'll be like short like 1 level. So keep that in mind. It's really important that you like wait before claiming this, until the pass goes live. Just wanted to stress that part. Now, if you skip your ISO 8 energy for 14 days by just that, you're still doing your campaign energy, but you're saving and you're hoarding ISO 8 energy for 14 days, you get 3,640 points. Now, this is just shy of the 3,655 that you need to clear the strike pass, so it's not passable. You could, however, still do it, and you would need to core about 1 level, assuming that you're still saving your objectives before the pass goes live. It's a lot worse after that. I believe it's like something like the difference. It would be like 5 levels, I think, 5 strike pass levels that you would have to buy for that, which is not good for your power core. So it's really important that you do this. Now, if you were to skip both energies for 14 days, brings you to 3,220 points. You subtract that from the 3,655, that's about 6 levels missing. So that's going to get you to a strike pass cap around level 50. Now, if you do all of this, if you're skipping both energies and you don't hoard your objectives because you messed up and you didn't do this, then the difference is going to be even worse. And it's going to be about 10 levels missing, or the strike pass cap is going to be around level 46 for this. And knowing that, what happens when you hoard both energies, I want to bring this back to the strike pass, right? And so what do you get if you're not buying the strike pass? If you are free to play and you're not buying the strike pass, because keep in mind, actually, they improved the strike pass on the paid purchase version of this across the top. It's actually a fair bit now, I'll admit. They've added about I think it's 250 red stack catalysts across the board, and they've added more Armory 19 orbs. The shards are the same, but they've added, you might have seen up here, the G19 minis. Now, these are the left side minis only, and there's 200 of them is what I counted. Now, there's 80 in this one anyways. There's 80 bio, 40 mutant, 40 skill, and 40 tech. So 200 G19 minis, which has a pretty astounding value. However, it is only the left side. So you're going to have now an uneven, I don't know if they're going to fix it and do the right side next time, or what they're going to do with that, but it's going to be an uneven balance of your G19 minis, unfortunately. But nonetheless, they've really increased the value. Now let's talk about like things like pass level 40, for example, on the strike pass. Like you get some shards. Actually, where did I say 46? Isn't that where I said you can get to? So the cap would be around 46 if you hoarded all the energy. So let's just take a look. You get like, okay, 5 Armory 18 orbs. Whoa, big whoop. Some silver promos, some training modules, which for some people might be okay. Some teal catalyst is not a big deal. 10 shards here. That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. 5 Armory 19 orbs. You could do without it, honestly. And then 2 million gold. Again, I think at this stage of the game, it's a fair bit, but it's also not when you think about it in the long term. And then you get some teal catalyst. Honestly, you can buy this right out of the raid store. Not a big deal. So what do you miss? You miss 2 million gold, 5 Armory 19 orbs, and 20 shards. That's what it looks like. So those 20 shards might be a big deal for some characters, or in certain positions where, that makes a big difference in your rank. But I would say that for many people, especially in the end game, when you're hoarding for events, and those people who do this kind of behavior, it's skippable. Like you could skip this. So I could go, and only if I'm not buying the strike pass. I want to reiterate that, because if you are buying the strike pass, you're missing out on a lot of things, right? Like 100,000 Armory 18 North, that's a little bit more. And then all the red catalyst, all the additional shards, the silver diamond credits, more Armory 19, and lots of gold, right? And the red minis. Sorry, red uniques. And so if you are buying the strike pass, this isn't behavior that I would typically recommend, because then you're kind of wasting your money, I suppose, on buying that, because there's a lot of extra shards in here and all the other stuff. But this is completely okay behavior, in my opinion, for free-to-play players if you want to get further ahead on your events and let's say there's weeks. Sometimes we can go like 1 or 2 weeks, or 3 in some cases, rare, but where there isn't an energy event. And that will give you more and more time to hoard for events that are important, other leaderboard events, or just, events that have good ratios as far as energy spending goes. And so I think for as long as I'm not buying the strike passes, I will continue to do this, because it's actually not that big of a deal, I think. And I think we've kind of overestimated the value of the strike pass in the free to play track, I think. And I wanted to share this stuff with you just to kind of, maybe better understand what it is that you are missing if you do decide to hoard indefinitely, and also how much it is, or like how easy it is basically, and what you can do to, still clear the strike pass if that's something you want to do because you buy the strike pass or whatever. Now, this I am going to be posting in my Discord server. At least I'm going to post like this section of it in my Discord server in the Boilon's Resources channel. So if you do want to share this around, feel free to do so after the video. I will be posting it on my Discord server. Otherwise, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I've been having a lot of math related questions with regards to strike pass points and things like that, and strike passes and what I do, and strategies around hoarding and things like that. So I hope that this kind of clears some things up, because there's always going to be events regarding energy, and I wanted to share what I did. So that's it for now, everyone. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.